your boy Pixie coming to you live.
Alright guys, welcome back. Another Warframe video, and this time, last but not least, we got Titania, Newest Warframe, Pixie Warframe, mischievous, mysterious, whatever you want to call her. She is our newest Warframe, Oberon's wife. A lot of people call her as such. But as far as with her abilities compared to Oberon, Oberon cannot go into Pixie form and rain hell on the enemies. Now, I'm going to talk about her abilities and go into detail with some. As we all know, her first ability, SpellBind, she practically locks on. She can make any enemy that she targets bumble their weapons, and they just float on helplessly in the air. You could just target them, kill them, so on. And there's a bonus to this ability as well. When you do it on yourself, you are immune to status effects, so this is really nice. And at the same time, to go along with that, also, if you're going up against the infested, toxin, all that stuff wouldn't apply to her, because again, you could cast it on yourself, no status effect. So that's really nice. Now, her next ability is Tribute. Now, Tribute, you can get a buff to one of your abilities. Now, I don't know all of them as far as what they all do, but once I get the buff or whatnot, I just take it, roll with it, and you could stack it with just doing Spellbind. You could stack it just like that, and that's how you get the full benefits of whatever tribute you get as far as the debuff or a buff. The debuff, it applies to the enemy. Sometimes their accuracy will be reduced. I think another one is where they'll do less damage to you, I believe. So again, these buffs either help you, and at the same time, depending on the enemy type, it works against them. So that's pretty nice as well right there. Now the next one we have is Lantern. Now the build that I have for Titania is a Forma build with me using both Lantern and Spellbound. Now Lantern, you practically hurl the enemy just like that in the air, and if there are enemies around, they'll be drawn to this guy right here. So this is a good CC ability, and at the same time, they will be immobilized. They won't be doing anything. They'll just look along helplessly just like this, looking at that guy like, oh man, he looks cool as hell. While you could just blast them while they're looking at the guy. So again, this is another good distraction as far as taking out enemies as such. So it's a really good CC, especially since there will be a whole bunch of enemies depending on what type you're going up against, what mission you're going to do. You can use that, and depending on the power strength, you can really take full advantage of this. And now the last ability, last but definitely not least, you have Razor Wing. I'm tempted to say Razor Wing a whole bunch of times instead of saying Razor Wind. And I'm seeing at the bottom, this guy said just stub. Yeah, let them know what's up. But as far as with Razor Wing, you have the ability to go into Pixie form. I like to do this while I'm going airborne. Now, when you have the Dex Pixie, I'll explain as to what this ability, not this ability, but what being in this mode actually does as far as with weapons. Your Dex Pixie is going off of your primary mods and shotgun mods. The base damage by itself, you can increase it with power strength. So you can have Intensify. You can also have, Transient Fortitude. You can also have Blind Rage, although I wouldn't recommend it. But it goes off of that. You can put power strength to boost up its base damage. So in a nutshell, you could treat this as if you're using Mesa's Peacemaker. Since her Peacemaker goes off of secondary mods, use the Dex Pixie as you going off of your primary mods or shotgun mods. Now, her Daiwata, which is her melee, it goes off of your melee mods, your base mods for your melee weapons. So again, it goes off of that. So take for example, Life Strike, not Life Strike, Prime Fury, Prime Reach. You can also include in there your base elemental damage, as far as, like for example, Fever Strike, Molten Impact. Any of the base damage mods, it will benefit off of that. So as you can see, being in this form, as you can see, pop, he's already dead. It's going off of my Vacor Heck shotgun mod. So again, this is really nice. And at the same time, the Dex Pixie, it has 10% impact, 10% puncture, and 80% slash. So again, it's going to be raining hell as far as with slashing, cutting up the enemy into pieces. So again, the Dex Pixie is really good. And at the same time, fire rate also works on this as well. So again, you can have speed trigger, what else, split chamber as far as with primary mods. So again, it works off of that as well. So it's really nice to be in this mode, and at the same time you can still use your other abilities as well. You're just not hindered just by being in Razor Wing. You could just, you know, still use your regular abilities as if you weren't in this ability. So it's really nice to know about that. But I'm also gonna put up a screenshot of everything as far as with Razor Wing in detail, because I know it could be confusing to some people wondering what mods to put on if you're building a Razor Wing build. But as far as my build, this is mostly for not Razor Wing. It's mostly meant for Lantern, and it's also meant for Spellbind, I mean. So again, it's running off of that. And as far as Titania in its overall standing, she is a really good Warframe as far as with CC, but again, she's not a tank. So again, you gotta really, I won't say really be careful, but at the same time, don't go in all heavy as far as trying to kill everything in sight. Because again, if she's under heavy fire, again, just use your defense mode, go into your Razor Wing, shrink down, and then you could just rain hell that way. So again, you gotta, I won't say be tactical, but again, you gotta be smart with her, because again, she, as far as with her armor, is not the greatest, but as far as her mobility while being in this form, she has a lot of mobility, speed, everything is right there. The only thing she can't not do as far as being in this form, she cannot hack nodes. As far as picking up items, she can still pick up items. You just gotta go right onto it and practically, you know, just tag it. Pretty much just go right up to it as usual and just go at it. So as far as Titania, she's a really good frame to use. You just gotta get used to her kit, know what works, what doesn't work. And at the same time, to boot, another thing I would like to add on to this is that the butterflies that you see, they have their own base damage as well. So again, being in this form, you could also increase the fireflies power strength. You could also put power strength mods to make them do more damage. So again, her kit is so open, but at the same time, as far as me using her, as far as doing excavation, some type of defense stuff, defending something, at the same time having a little bit of CC on top of it, just have a Spellbind Lantern build, because that's practically what this is. It's not really a Razor Wing build, but it works for me. And at the end of the day, as long as it works, it works. And another thing too is that when you do bullet jumps, like do jumps like that, As you can see, there's like a little aura as far as with bullet jumping. You get that little momentum there. So yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. So as far as me covering Titania, that's practically all I got for you guys. So I'll check y'all later, man. Peace out.